Yo,
Papa G, what's good?
what's good, bro?
Daddy, what's up?
Hi.
How you
What's going
feeling?
on?
How
I'm
you-
good. How are you? How are you, Greg? We miss you.
We miss you too.
I know we took a little bit of time off.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
tough getting our thoughts and words together.
Still,
It's
for me,
still
so I might be a little
tough,
quiet.
which is why we do have a very special guest today, our friend Tameka Vasquez. Hit the applause
woohoo!
for me, baby.
What?
Oh,
Hello.
Hi.
Hey,
hi.
How are you today?
Good, good. How are you guys?
Very good. Appreciate you coming on our pod today.
Of course.
I always see you posting stuff, and when I can't find the words, we always find them on your
yes,
page and your posts, and I do appreciate it. Sometimes I get so angry and wound up and distracted, and I'm just like, I don't even know what to say or put into words, and I see you post something, and
Yeah.
9 times out of 10, it's like exactly what I wanted to say, and
and
like
it's
this
eloquent.
perfect, eloquent layout. And I read your Medium blog post today, and it was like,
Yeah,
you did it again. I was just like, how does she always speak to exactly what's on my mind? Um, so we do appreciate you coming on today.
Yeah, of course. Thanks for having me.
So why don't you tell the people a little bit about yourself, what you're doing, what you're working on, who you are?
I'm Cuban, I think. um, let's start there.
Right, right.
So yeah, no, I do marketing strategy in the tech industry. So I've been doing that for almost a decade now. It's been a minute. But outside of that, I do a few other things. Like I teach at a university. Try now and then to write and put some thoughts out there. So you guys kind of see little bits and pieces of things that come to mind that are not fleshed out yet. So I'm glad
Right,
you actually think it's somewhat decent.
right.
But yeah, that's kind of what I do.
And you said it's not fleshed out. Are you working on like a bigger project that we don't know about, and these are just little snippets?
Perhaps, perhaps,
We need the tea.
maybe.
We gotta get the driving questions here.
We need the
There's
exclusive.
always a work in progress.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I don't know what it is yet, but there's always a thing to work towards. So
If it is a book, I am totally down. I'm gonna buy it already. Just you can add me as your pre-order. I'm gonna purchase it today. If you put it up as a link anywhere, it's on. Yeah, we got it. Gonna buy it 3 copies.
Yeah.
full, full promo, me for no discounts.
So let's talk about why we're here today, and the reason why we took some time off. Yadi, if you want to start, like, how has this affected you and your everyday life? And
Um. Well, it's been extremely taxing on my mental health, on just about every aspect of my life, work-wise, personally, with everything happening with the police brutality, the killings, and just everything kind of just coming out. It's not that it's new, like we knew
right.
this was happening, but it's kind of like a shift in energy because everybody's home, people are unemployed, there's no sports, there's no traveling, so it's like
Hmm.
we literally cannot look away. So it's everything that we've been consuming, everything that around us, it's all about all the bad stuff that's going on. So it's like so hard to, like I said, look away or think about anything else. And not that we should, but for me, it's been like, okay, how do I maintain my mental health?
right,
How do I maintain myself when I know that I want to do something about it? I know that this is happening, but I can't seem to look away.
yeah, I mean, it's been tough. I mean, you want to unplug, but you want to also help out and share things and see things. But it's like I had to take like a couple days just to not look at my phone and
Yeah.
not go on Twitter, not go on Instagram, and see all this stuff. I mean, obviously we live it every
Yeah,
day, so I don't need to look at every post, but uh, you're just trying to find other ways to help that take this to the next level. Of course, the protester. I would say the what's the catalyst, I guess, is the word I'm
hmm
looking for. But how do we take this to the next level? That's where I'm trying to put my mind now.
Yeah.
And I
But I
just
think
don't
that
know.
starts with like voting and stuff like that, getting involved in the community,
Right.
um, stuff like that.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's tough. We can't even go outside, really,
Yeah.
That's true too.
without putting your life on the line. I mean, we couldn't do that before, but now it's even more risk. So it's like, how do we get involved without, injuring ourselves and
Yeah.
hurting ourselves and all those things? And Tameka, if you want to chime in, how are you feeling about all this right now? I've read your blog post, but if you want to elaborate and speak a little
Yeah.
bit to it.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely feel the same way as you guys for sure. It's just so overwhelming, honestly. It's like if mental, if your mind wasn't already at in of a global health crisis, it's like everything else just compounds. It's just been mentally draining, and I think kind of toxic too, just in the midst of it all. Because to your point, we have seen these things happening for a long time, but I think it's just that we're sort of forced to reckon with it in a way that we haven't historically, at least not in our lifetime. Like as millennials, we haven't been forced to actually sit down and confront an issue in this way, all while dealing with much, like, I don't want to call them larger, but when I say larger, like things that are even more out of our control.
Right.
Such a and it's just too many things all at once. So I've definitely been just overwhelmed. Definitely took a few days away from work life. Just lived in silence for a couple of days myself. That was definitely critical. So now I'm kind of bouncing back a little bit into just how could I be a productive member of society. A little bit more than I have been probably in the past. So that's kind of the space I'm in now.
And your blog post that you posted on Medium, it was entitled "What's the Point?" Can you elaborate on kind of what is the point? Why are we involved in all this? Why are we here? Why are we here today?
Yeah. I literally wrote all that in like 30 minutes because it was just literal word vomit. I was just getting really frustrated because I think what happened was
came out that eloquent.
It's not my proudest work, so yes, it's word vomit. No, I think what triggered it was I woke up. This was the day after everybody had like the black tiles on their social media, right? So this was the day after everybody decided it's Blackout Tuesday. Let's take a day of pause. Let's listen to voices that are actually part of change and part of movements, and let's understand like what we can be doing better as a collective. And that was the whole point of that day. And I just saw like so much criticism. Like there was just so much criticism as to, what's the point of y'all posting this, black square on your social media, hashtagging Blackout Tuesday. What's the point of this? What's the point of that? And it just like triggered me entirely. It just made me snap because I was just kind of like, we need to stop asking everybody else, what's your point? What's your point? What's your point? For every motion that they're trying to show, like people are trying to show solidarity.
Right.
So if they show it by posting a black square on their Instagram, that's how they show solidarity. So
right.
I kind of just got into this phase where I was like, we need to really stop asking everybody else what's their point, and we need to figure out what's our point. So that was kind of the spirit in which I wrote it, because I didn't want it to be like I'm further criticizing, in an already critical space.
Right.
I just kind of wanted it to be a self-reflection point, to be like, guys, you don't see the point of, people kneeling on a football field. You don't see the point in people protesting in the street. You don't see the point in people posting a black square on their Instagram. Like, what do you see a point in? And if you cannot answer that question, then obviously, probably just can't take you with us on this movement. That's kind of how.
Right. And I think that's the culture on Twitter in general. I mean, nobody really. It's just people complaining about things. That I'm not. I used to be a big fan of Twitter, but I'm just like I can't get into it anymore. Like I used to. It's just every day, everything you post, somebody has a different opinion about it, and they share that opinion, and it's like, I'm just trying to share my thoughts. I don't want to fight.
Exactly.
Everything becomes a fight on Twitter. It's like, why are we even here? So definitely the idea in your blog post. And another thing I read in your post that I was thinking before also was, there are different battlefields on there. We do need the people posting and stuff, but there are other areas that, we do need to fight in. It's not just police brutality. There's a whole system against us. So just trying to find those ways and just stop judging people for not doing what you did to protest.
Exactly.
So like I said, you wrapped it up perfectly for me in words that I couldn't think of myself, but the idea is very similar.
Yeah.
Papa G, would you like to chime in? How are you feeling, bro? I know you're, in law enforcement. Are you torn? Are you, how are you feeling, bro?
No, one, I think I do have like a better insight in on how like you're supposed to react as a police officer, and we all agree that's not what you're supposed to do
Right.
as an officer. But like Tameka said, I was definitely overwhelmed. I was at work. I still had to go to work all last week, and I was just sitting in like my workspace, and tears sometimes would just roll down my face. You know what I'm saying? Because at the same time, it just so happened at the same time I was reading 12 Years a Slave. So it was like that on top of the George Floyd and Breonna Taylor. It just everything compounding. And I'm just like, I need a break, and I don't know. And then you got the people at work as well who opposing, what's going on. And I don't know. I just had to like just sit back, take a break, and just get myself together because I was reaching my breaking point.
Right. Yeah.
Do you find yourself, Greg? For me personally, like I have this sense of responsibility that I need to educate, especially people in the Latinx community, because there's so much anti-blackness, and that is extremely overwhelming for me because sometimes I'm just like, I don't have it in me. Like I'm drained. I'm completely exhausted.
Yeah.
I have muted my family group chats. I have expressed why I'm doing certain things just so they
Right.
know, the language that they're using is inappropriate or it's racist. But it's like, where, like, at what point do we just say, okay, this is out of my hands? Like, I did everything that I could do. Like, for you, do you feel yourself kind of, in that space where you have to educate your peers or people, even outside of, what you do for work? Do you find yourself explaining yourself or kind of like not making excuses, but saying, oh, not all cops and stuff like that?
Well, it depends on the person that you're speaking to. For me, the approach I've been taking is like I've just been stepping back because it's just too much for me, too much of a burden. If you really want to learn, you should definitely take. There's a lot of resources out there for you to learn. So I feel like if you want to learn, you want to understand our point, grab a book or watch a movie. There's plenty of movies out there. Just Mercy, 12 Years a Slave. There's different ways for you to get educated, and I don't think it should just the onus should fall on us. Take the time, take the effort. If you really want to be a part of the struggle, then definitely take that time.
Right. And Yadi, did you want to speak about your conversations internally?
A little bit.
Yeah,
just
you don't have to go into
like,
detail, but
yeah,
just so people, I'm sure other people are going through something similar.
Yeah. So
yeah,
I've had to face kind of like, I don't want to say double, but it's like, for me, aside from me myself wanting to be more educated and learn more and learn, how to be of help and how to, say the right things. On top of that, I kind of have to like continue to educate my family and people around me and people that I care about, because it's like they don't understand that some of their views or the stuff that they say is hurtful to me being a different skin color than what they are. I have a lot of white passing family, people who are, Latinx but passed for white people. Like, you have white skin, you have green eyes, you don't face the same stuff that I face as a, darker skin, like Afro-Latina. And then me thinking about my partner, the person that I love, being a black man, and like his family and what they go through, and then our children, what they're gonna have to face. Like, some stuff that my family said, like, have said in the past is very triggering to me, because it's like, you guys don't understand, and you're not open, you're not willing to understand, because you just can't relate. And it's like, oh, that's not true, when and it's in fact very true. Like, I feel like people have the right to say, if you can't relate, then you shouldn't speak on it, like on a level, because if you're not open to understanding and conversation and like being educated, then you should just probably remove yourself from the situation, because you're just causing harm. So I've found myself just like not blocking people, but like people in my family, like people that I care about, people that I love, just being like, this is not serving me. Like I tried, and I'm just gonna step back because it's not doing it for me. Like,
Yeah.
so it's been extremely hard for me this past week. Like I said, in personal level, it's affected me in my work. Like I can't focus. It's affected me in like every single aspect, because it's like, damn, we're going through all this stuff, and me, like, I'm trying and doing my part, and then I have to like deal with this stuff too. It's like, where does it?
Right. It's
You
like
know what I
a
mean? It's
That's
like,
that's the crazy thing. Yeah, it's a lot, honestly, and I think that's the crazy thing too, because historically, when we see these issues of police brutality, when we see these issues of overt, I'll say overt race, things that create shock, the conversation always switches to racism, like the ism itself, like the study of you can decide to criminalize and demonize a specific group of people based on skin color. I think why it's so different this time is because for the first time, the conversation is not just about racism; it's specifically about anti-blackness. And I think that's the piece. You have situations like, you know, what you're describing with your family. I've been having it out with my Asian friends all for the past 2 weeks, you know, because we've had to have these open conversations about, guys, just because you do not own the system that, you know, that practices intentional oppression does not mean that you are not a participant and you are not, you know, complicit in the act of anti-blackness, which is really what we're seeing. So the conversation has kind of been switching a lot. I've noticed that.
Right. And I've seen people throw out Martin Luther King quotes at me, and I'm just like, come on, I know the quote, but
right.
this is not that.
Dude, people were arguing with Dr. King's kids on Twitter. I'm like, man, like, it's just the most mind-blowing thing. Like, that's their father.
Right. They know
may
this
he
better
rest in
than
peace.
us.
But I think they would know him a little bit better than we do.
It is, you know, I love the internet, you know, all the things and the fruits that it gives us, but it really just grinds my gears sometimes with the people on there. It's just like, shut up.
I think the most hurtful thing that I've kind of like seen right now, that, like I said earlier, I can't like not ignore, but like I can't, like I saw it very clearly during this whole thing, is like not just the anti-blackness in the, you know, Latinx community, but how similar even the language is to like to white privilege. Like people say certain things, and I'm just like, do you understand what you're saying? Like, it's kind of crazy. Like, you know, white supremacy, like the only difference between like white people and white passing is like white supremacy have the actual, like they own it, they have the supremacy, but then there's these people that have the certain privileges because they look a certain way, and they think that they have the same privilege, and they speak like they have the same privilege when they don't. In fact, like it's just a thing in the moment when you look at somebody, but it's like you do understand that, you know, this also affects you. Like this anti-blackness, this like internalized supremacy that you think, like this privilege that you think that you have, it's like temporary. It's not, and it's affecting people, you know, around you, your family, people like me, people who will, you know, birth black children. It's like, and you're speaking like this to me? Like, what? It's just so crazy. Yeah. So
people are definitely getting even more reckless with their words, I think. Yeah. And it's just like, and I just want to talk a little bit more, well, just a little bit about the rioting, looting argument going on. I mean, it's still going on. I thought it was over, and people were like, okay, peaceful protest. You know, it's a separate thing, but a lot of people's argument is, oh, I'm against looting, but I support, you know. But I mean, it's two totally separate things, and I hate when people combine it together. And I just want to say the looting, you know, President Trump didn't comment on any of this until the looting started. So, you know, for attention grabbers, we didn't get the attention of our president until people started looting. Yeah. So I just want to say that. So people who are against it, you know, I understand, but it you know, that's our president. He's not going to respect anything that we do. So, you know, we can peacefully protest, we can riot, we can loot. It doesn't matter. You know, he doesn't respect us, so it is what it is. Yeah. So why?
It's like, you know, one of the big pieces of like this whole thing that I'm going through is like, you know, these people who are looting and doing these violent protests are not, like educated black people because like they know better. And it's like when you like one of the things was like that was mentioned was like, oh, do you really want to fall that bad into being a stereotype? And that just like made me go crazy because it's like when you have black skin, it doesn't matter if you are a judge, it doesn't matter if you are a god, like it doesn't matter. You have this logo that people see, like white people see, and authorities see, and it's like it doesn't matter. Like they had literally like a senator at one of these protests, like they were beating him up, and it's like you can't say that people, the looters or whatever, like they're just the crazy people and like the educated people are not behind this, because it's like when you literally, it doesn't matter like who you are. Stereotypes are just like, who cares? Like, you know what? Whatever. Right. I'm just gonna do whatever I need to do to get a reaction.
It doesn't matter what we do. It doesn't matter that they're not gonna
there's
show
this
us any
picture
respect,
circulating of like all these like Harvard med like graduates or whatever, and they were like, oh yeah, like I have a PhD. And it's a screenshot from like LinkedIn, and like this, I don't even know who, like this white man was like, I just see a bunch of thugs. Like,
yeah, I saw that.
It's literally a picture of their graduation, like all like a Harvard, law or med. Or
it was
something.
Harvard Law School, yeah.
And it's like when these people think, of black people like this, it doesn't matter. Like we can't continue to try to be like complacent or like adapt and be like and respect these white spaces because it literally doesn't matter. Right. So why not? Why not do? A little looting, something to get a reaction. Like, there's nothing.
But it's not even that. I feel like people are also forgetting, guys, we are in the middle of a global health crisis. Right. And on top of that, we have almost 12% of this country is unemployed. So you thought people were going to be at home for the past 90 days, stuck wearing masks outside, being awkward around each other, literally losing social skills, unemployed, scared, not sure what the hell is going to happen come November, and seeing themselves get killed on TV, and we would just be chilling. Like, it's just, it's the most asinine reaction for a person. You have to lack, and sorry if I'm insulting anybody's, friends and family, but you have to lack a certain human heart, right? You have to lack a certain element of your soul. If you can literally see, this is the first time that the whole world is experiencing something together, right? Because usually you'll see some crisis in another country and it's like, all right, that's over there. This is the first time the whole world is forced to sit down and experience something together. And if this is your first reaction to question somebody's emotional outburst, or maybe somebody's ignorant outburst, any outburst at this point is fair game because it's too many issues compounded in one, and people are absolutely sick and tired. And that's what you'll get.
Right. Yeah, this is the first time I've seen it all around the world. I mean, I know it felt different when I saw the video, and I didn't want to watch it.
Yeah, the energy is different.
I just had to watch it. It just felt like my neck was getting stepped on almost, and I just like almost couldn't breathe for a second. But it's just tough. But but when I saw the response around the world, I was just like, wow, this is actually different. It did feel different at first, but when I saw the response all over, I was just like, okay, we're all in this together. And of course, there's going to be people against us, but I do feel support around the world, and it does make me feel a little bit better about everything going on. Papa G, would you like to include anything else?
Nah. We covered everything.
Any last thoughts on this that you'd like to share?
I mean, there's so much, guys, honestly.
Yeah.
For the rest of the week.
Yeah.
All right. We'll move on to other things. We just had to kind of get that off our chest. Tameka, thank you for holding our hand through this and helping us with your words as you do so well. So Tameka, tell us about what's going on with you. How are you? What's new in your world?
Awkward.
Try to change it up a little bit.
I mean, I don't know. I'm like everybody else. I'm working. I'm trying to take it day by day. I've been really just like learning way more about myself in this whole process. But otherwise I'm good. I mean, we're fortunate, we're blessed if we're still employed, if you still have your health. I mean, those are things that, it takes away a lot of your rights to complain in in a lot of ways. So, I've been okay. I've just been taking it one day at a time, trying to get fresh air as much as possible. I have been doing a lot of writing. Like I said, a lot of stuff does not make it onto the internet. It's just, I just get in the habit of like putting the things that are going on in my mind on paper. Been listening to a lot of podcasts. Yeah, just try to keep myself gainfully occupied.
Are you still, I know you were doing presentations and speeches. Do you still do those seminars and things like that digitally?
So the crazy thing is, when this year started, everybody makes like their New Year's resolutions and all that stuff. I had told myself this would be my silent year. And the weird thing is, like, I mean, now it's a forced pause, but like I did legit tell myself I was in Ghana at the end of last year for the whole year of return. If you guys don't know what that's about, I'm happy to talk about it. So I was there.
How was the experience?
Way too much fun. So the year of return was I guess, commemorating Ghana being one of the first countries to participate in the transatlantic slave trade. So it was them commemorating, 4 centuries later, their descendants being all over the world, diaspora as we call it, and giving them the opportunity to come back home, feel like they're at home and just turn up, just celebrate, with people that are still on the continent. And it was like, honestly, hands down, like the best vacation I've ever had, ever. It was amazing. And I think that I came back with such like energy, and I came back feeling very, very loved in a way, in a weird way that I can't really explain. I just felt very, very loved. And I was just ready to start a new year and a new decade and just figure out like what's the next chapter of my life. I had turned 30 not long before that. So for me, everything was like new chapter, new chapter, new chapter. And so I told myself like this year would be like the silent year, because last year it was something like 25 speaking engagements. It was like ridiculous. And I was really, really tired. Yeah, I burnt myself out. So, this year was my year to just chill, figure out like what I want to be when I grow up, and, see what life has to offer. So it was crazy that this ended up happening and like forcing everybody to have to do that.
Right. And most of your presentations, are they marketing based or do you present on other things as well?
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff. People like seeing some Black girl in tech talk about tech things. So I tend to do that quite a bit. A lot of AI related conversations. That was like the big, thing. It still is, but people were kind of in that space of trying to learn and figure out, what is artificial intelligence? Like, what is the implication of that? Are people going to be out of jobs? So a lot of my talks were about stuff like that. A lot of people just trying to figure out like, what's going to be the future of their jobs, or, what sort of skills do they need to like survive in this new economy if things go the way that a lot of people are predicting. So a lot of the talks were just about tech and like the implications of tech on not only, us as individual people, but on society change, how we operate as a society, how we take care of vulnerable people, things like that. So some marketing stuff in there, some ethical stuff in there, like a lot of different topics, but a lot of it was mostly technical.
Just curious, how did you even like kind of get involved in actually? I know you do a lot of speaking now, but how did you get started into doing these public speakings and tech seminars and marketing seminars? How did you kind of get involved in that?
It kind of started through teaching, honestly. I never really thought about doing anything like public related. It just wasn't really something that I thought I would feel comfortable doing, believe it or not. So I started out because of teaching, and actually, you guys went to Baruch, so Baruch actually gave me my first. So I was teaching some grad school students over there, and faculty people come in and out. They check on you. They see how you're doing, and the feedback consistently was like, you relate really well, to students, and you can translate information that seems difficult and make it seem very simple. So like, you should probably do that for more people.
Right.
That's kind of how I just got into it. Just opportunities, saying yes to opportunities when they came, taking it a little bit more seriously.
Okay.
So
that's pretty cool. And you went to Columbia for your master's, right?
Yeah.
How was the experience there, going to that prestigious school?
Oh man, don't say it like that. It's like going to any other school. school.
Yeah,
It's like
yeah.
school.
School, you know. It's cool. I mean, because it's in New York, so you know, you also have to
Add that factor too. It's like you're in New York, you're in the most diverse city in the world, so you don't feel the same. I guess as like maybe some of the other IVs where it's far more homogenous. Columbia is actually more diverse than I think a lot of people
Okay.
would assume. So it was great, honestly. I mean,
Nice.
school is school.
Yeah,
So,
school is school.
you
I
know,
remember saying
no
that
matter
every
where
day
you
after
go,
school
school.
is still school.
I was school today. Oh, school, school. You know how it is.
you know. Exactly. So,
Papa G, any questions for Tameka before we move on? I can't hear you. I think you're on mute. Oh.
I said no. I'm good. Thanks.
All right.
Sorry, it's kind of crazy over here.
Oh, kids are bugging out a little bit.
Yeah, man.
It's hard to do a podcast with 2 kids running around.
Who you telling?
All right. So, as you know, we have a couple segments on this show we like to do. The first one, of course, is shit I don't like. Papa G.
Oh shit! I haven't come prepared today.
Oh.
I'll go after Yari. Let me think of something.
Yeah, you got anything?
Yeah,
Okay,
surprisingly.
yeah, go for it,
I
babe.
just literally just thought about
Oh,
this.
go for it. Go
This
for
is
it.
like on the spot. And this can be interpreted in many ways. For the shit I don't like is explaining myself. I really don't like explaining myself.
Okay.
Like, I really, really hate it. And it's like, you think about it. I used to think about explaining myself as like being more kind of like, given a perspective or being softer and just, giving people an opportunity to see where I'm coming from. But now I'm just like, I hate explaining myself. Like, it is what it is. Like, this is it. And if I have to like explain anything in depth to you, it's like, it's probably not meant to be.
Right.
You're not meant to know it. So I just don't like explaining myself.
All right. That's perfectly fine. Tameka, would you like to participate today?
sure. So,
What is the question? Things I don't like?
Anything you don't like could be completely irrational, something that nobody else can relate to, whatever you want. Something you don't like, anything.
I mean, most of the stuff I don't like is probably real petty. It's like nothing
That's
that
perfect.
serious.
That's perfect.
I try not to be too bothered by, too many things. I don't know. It's like, what was I complaining about this morning? I feel like, I mean, this is probably deeper than it needs to be, but it's also petty. I don't like that we are making really stupid people famous, like really, really stupid people. It's truly bothering me because it's like, it becomes this self-fulfilling prophecy. Like, we all complain about stuff ignorant, or this person doesn't know what they're talking about, or this person is, just trying to trigger us, they're trolls or whatever. But then those very same people end up being spotlight because we are literally putting them there by consistently sharing their stuff. We're spending more time talking about them. And it's at the point where I think they actually know what they're doing now, where it's a perfect recipe. It's like, I'm going to say something that I know is outlandish.
Right.
I know that's going to get the internet talking. And I know that as a result of that, I'm going to get the attention, the views, the shares that I want. And then, everything is, we were talking about marketing earlier. One of the things that I tell people about marketing is like, everything is a data point. Every single thing is a data point. So whether it's or bad, there's an opportunity for you to capture people. All of those things are data points. And you can take that and turn that into a thriving career if you wanted to.
Right.
And so I don't like that. And I'm at the point now where I'm not even mad at the people that are taking advantage of it and doing it. I'm more mad at us for falling for it every single damn time.
Right.
So I don't know.
Can't
You
hate
talking
the
about
player,
Candace
hate
Owens?
the game, right?
right.
You talking about Candace?
Amongst other people. She may or may not be top of my mind right now.
Oh, Candace. Oh, we don't say her whole name.
Oh, okay.
She's like
Yeah,
Voldemort. She's Voldemort.
She who shall not be
Named, yes.
I got it.
All right. Appreciate you, Tameka, for chiming in. If you want to keep going, I mean, if you have another one you want to get off your chest, perfectly fine.
It's very
sure there's a
therapeutic.
list. That was
The only, it is.
This is our therapy.
This is our therapy.
Back to like the last thing.
Right.
Yeah. Nah, I think I'm okay for now, but that was good. Take it off my chest.
Papa G, would you like to participate today?
I'm about to sit this one out. I don't have a good one this week.
No, it's fine. It's nothing forced, completely optional. If you have nothing you like today, you don't have to do that. It's fine. I guess
I'm gonna double up next time.
Yeah, double up. Create a list.
Come on.
Create a list.
He's gonna let it out.
I'm not gonna go crazy today. I know sometimes I go a little wild on these things.
Yeah.
But it's very simple. As you know, Yadi, I spend a lot of time on Call of Duty.
Oh, yeah.
It's my escape from reality. It's where I go to just not think about anything and just release any tension I might have inside. So there's this thing for those who don't play called the Gulag. Have you? It's basically a Russian prison camp, but when you die, you go there and you have to fight your way out. And you're.
This sounds awful.
And you're playing against other players, so you have to fight each other to get out. Whoever wins that fight can come back in the game and keep fighting.
Oh my god.
Oh God.
So my shit I don't like is, and I'm sure people who don't play video games don't relate to this. That's what's my personal shit I don't like. But they added these new guns to the Gulag now, so people have assault rifles. They used to give you like pistols and knives and shit, so you couldn't really hide out in the Gulag and camp. Mm-hmm. But now you have to people just sit in the back and hang out. It's hard to get out now. You just can't get out the Gulag.
Oh my god. This is so beyond my comprehension in my world.
I'm trying to empathize, and I just
No.
What?
You don't have to try. I know. Not everybody's gonna relate, but those who do know what I'm talking about. Get rid of the assault rifles in the Gulag, please.
Oh boy.
Thank you for listening to that. I just had to get that off my chest.
Thank you so much for sharing. Wow, your testimony is.
We gotta have a little fun,
Yeah. Of course.
All right. As you want to do 25 questions first, and then end it on a positive note?
Sure.
All right. Tameka. So we have a little fun here where the people get to know you a little bit better.
oh God.
You want to ask the question?
Sure.
Static and everything.
Papa G, you are off camera, by the way, so it's just going to be Tameka.
That's not permission to do anything crazy. No.
We can still see you, but the people can't see you.
Oh.
Okay.
All right, so here's how it works. We're going to set a clock for 3 minutes. We have 25 questions we prepared earlier. Just answer as many as you can, and hopefully we get to 25, and people get to know you a little bit better.
Okay.
All right, we'll start it in 5, 4, 3, 2.
If you could be any animal in the world, what would it be?
Lion.
If you had to pick one superpower, what would it be?
Invisibility.
Okay.
If you could be a member of any TV show family, which one would it be?
Ooh.
The Banks family.
Nice. What was your first job?
My first job was writing tweets for CPG brands.
Nice.
My first job
Professionally or first job as a teenager?
Whatever you consider your first job. Name a book that you would recommend to people right now to read.
Oh my God, I read
Too many books. Oh my God. I legit read too many books. So right now I'm reading Smart People Should Build Things by Andrew Yang.
Okay.
Name one thing you can never give up.
Bread.
That's a tough one. What is your favorite movie?
I don't know if I have a favorite movie.
What's your favorite song right now?
Oh my God, I listen to so many instrumental Afro beats stuff that they don't even have song titles. I literally listen to So I listen to a lot of instrumental of every genre. Let me put it that way. So a lot of it
Okay.
doesn't really have a title.
If you could live anywhere besides New York/New Jersey, where would you live?
Probably either Amsterdam or Johannesburg.
If you had to change your name, what would it be?
It would probably just be a letter. Like,
Kate.
What's your favorite meal to make?
I like
To make stir fry anything.
Coffee or tea?
definitely coffee these days.
Would you rather live for a week in the past or the future?
I would probably choose
The future.
What's your favorite color?
yellow.
Favorite restaurant of all time?
That is very hard. I'll probably
Choose Rosemary's in New York City.
All right, that's time.
That's it. Let's give her one more question. We
Okay.
kind of messed up a little bit in the middle.
When you're having a bad day, what do you do to make it better?
I go for really, really long walks.
Like I can walk for 2 hours, 3 hours.
Wow.
Nice.
So we got to 17.
Yeah.
17.
Not bad, not bad.
Thank you so much,
Thank
Tameka,
you.
for participating in
That
25
was
questions. So as everybody knows, all of our frequent listeners and friends of the show, friends of the pod, appreciate our loyal listeners who've been listening since day one when we were crazy.
Shout
wilding
out to y'all. We're at a pretty crazy number of listeners.
Right,
I
right,
couldn't believe it.
right. You know, I try not to look at the stats too much because I'm like a
Then you
data,
get focused on it.
data
like, too
junkie,
much. Yeah.
but and I go nuts and I'm like, oh, what is, you know, but
Yeah.
I check them, you know, once a week now instead
Not
of every day.
bad.
And you're doing pretty good. We
Yeah.
are doing pretty good, everybody. So we can't wait to put some more content out there for everybody. But as you all know, we like to end things on a positive note. This is where we'll hand the mic over to Tameka, and she can give you guys some encouragement, some words, any advice you might want, anything. Just give us something positive to give to our listeners.
Yeah. Honestly, guys, just breathe. Wake up every day and just take deep breaths. You know, count your breath.
If you're these days, I'm really into like essential oils. So I have a diffuser, and I diffuse oil every single day because if nothing else, it just gives like a refreshing like scent. You know, it just puts your mind in a completely different space. Like if you don't believe me, at least give it a shot. And you know what? Like, just let's focus on the things that we can. And that includes people. So, you know, if you got to let go of some people, at least even if it's temporary, definitely prioritize your mental health over everything else and focus on the things you can actually control. So yeah, hopefully that, you know, puts everybody in a positive space. It's definitely put me in a positive space.
Thank you, Tameka, for that positive note.
Yes. I have a diffuser, by the way. Obsessed.
Thank you so much for coming by and talking with us.
Of course.
We'd love to have you back in happier times.
Yeah.
You know, usually we have a lot of fun. I know this conversation is always tough and gets deep down and what you're feeling. But, you know, we do have fun on this pod all the time. We'd love to have you back in better terms and the world's a better place and we can have more fun in the conversation. So we'll line that up. We'll line that up at some point. Oh, and your website is awesome. We checked it out.
It looks amazing.
Yeah, it's just super
Plug it.
clean. Yeah. I mean, it's her name, Tameka Vasquez.
Oh, all right.
And all the details will be in the in the bios, or not the bios, but the description of the video and on the podcast. We'll put a link to her Medium post. What's the point? Am I missing anything?
I think that's it.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
We're gonna plug all your shit. So
That's cool. That works for me.
again, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you guys.
Enjoy the rest
Thank
of your
you.
day.
Thank you.
All right. Bye.
Bye.